Hi, I'm John Counsell. I'm a senior reporter with Texas Lawyer newspaper, and welcome to the February 11th, 2009 edition of Reversed and Remanded. My guest today is Brad Lollar. Brad is a longtime Dallas criminal defense lawyer, and he's also the former chief public defender of the Dallas County PD's office. Been around for a long time, knows a lot of stuff, and I'm going to ask him about some stuff. First thing we got, Brad, is a very interesting and sad case in which a judge has exonerated a guy that died in prison. He apparently was misidentified in a witness lineup and spent a long time in jail and died there. And then after he died, they located the real person who committed this horrible rape, I believe in Lubbock. And they've exonerated him. And I've written about this before. You've probably seen it a million times. But when is the bad witness ID problem going to be solved? What are we going to do?
Well, thank you for having me here first. Let me say that. Appreciate it.
Okay.
In that particular case, I think there were two problems that have come to the forefront. First was the misidentification. And that is a common problem that we've had, as we've seen here in Dallas County with so many exonerations. I think we've got 19 now with more on the way.
Right.
I think that is obviously the major factor which has led to wrongful convictions. The advantage that we have now, of course, which we didn't have 20 years ago, 15 years ago, is the availability of DNA testing, which is all done prior to the trial. So
right.
A lot of these cases where a person might have been identified, then they subsequently get a search warrant, take their DNA and test it to substances found at the scene, and they can see that it's not the person that left the substances at the scene. So they never get to trial.
Right.
So it's kind of a different situation than what we had 15, 20 years ago.
Let me ask you this. Now that we still have cases that go to trial that probably the primary evidence is the witness identification.
Absolutely.
Are you seeing prosecutors' offices change their tactic on those types of cases? Are they not as willing to bring them forward if that's all they have?
Well, no. I've not seen them do that. They don't like them.
Right.
And juries don't like them. But if that's all they've got, and you know it's a serious case, defendant saying he's not guilty and demanding a trial, what's the prosecutor going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, if they have an eyewitness who says that they are sure, they're still going to go ahead and try the case, is what I've seen here in Dallas anyway.
Yeah. Okay, second issue, we have an interesting motion filed in Judge Sam Kent's trial. He will soon be going to trial in Houston federal court on several sex abuse and sex abuse related charges, and he had a superseding indictment filed against him which added some new charges, and the last one is a obstruction of justice charge. So he has filed a motion saying, I would like the sexual abuse related charges separated out from the obstruction of justice cases. And the reason is he wants to testify in the sexual abuse related charges, but not in the obstruction case. Let me ask you this. Do you think, Brad, that a judge will possibly separate these cases out? Because a lot of judges say, look, judicial economy, let's have one trial, get this finished.
Well, the judge has very capable counsel in Mr. DeGuerin, and one thing I've thought of, that this is a great appellate point right from the get-go.
Right.
It would seem to me like if what the judicial counsel for the Fifth Circuit has decided is that the judge lied when he denied the commission of the sex offenses.
No, he didn't. They didn't actually do that. The prosecution has alleged that they
Okay.
didn't. They haven't ruled that. But
Okay,
that's
they haven't found
right.
It would seem to be the same issue, the same gut issue,
Right.
as the sexual allegations themselves.
Right.
So, I'm sure there's a good reason for the judge wanting to separate them out. One real good reason is the great appellate point.
Right. Well, yeah, Dick would want to separate those out. And, I mean, he's also filed another motion trying to get the obstruction case dismissed on a bunch of different grounds, one of which is that it's a separation of powers issue because the judicial, the Fifth Circuit Judicial Council is a judicial body, and it's separate and apart from our criminal justice system. Yeah, so
Yep.
very interesting case. We'll see what happens with that one.
Good issues.
All right, it's now time to put Brad in what I like to call the witness box. I'm going to ask him some really silly questions and see what Brad has to say. Okay, Brad, first thing. A little confused. Since Dallas DA Craig Watkins made a name for himself getting people out of prison, did that mean that you could have made a name for yourself as a Dallas PD putting people in prison?
Well, we tried not to put people in the penitentiary when I was PD. We tried to keep them out. Now, unfortunately, we don't get to we don't get to make up the facts of the case, and there are those pesky witnesses against us sometimes, you know. So
Yeah, I know. What are you going to do?
what can you do with the pesky witnesses
Okay.
and the pesky DNA and the pesky evidence?
All right, second question. Brad, who do you like better, robbers or burglars?
Burglars.
Burglars? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Final one. Brad, will you ever apply for a job again where you have 5 bosses and the only fringe benefit is politics?
Well, I had actually 5 bosses, but I had, how many district judges are there?
Oh my gosh, I
17.
forgot about them.
They
Yeah.
thought they were my bosses.
Oh.
So we had the 5 bosses for sure, and then the 17, and that's just in the criminal courts. And we had the misdemeanor judges, and the civil judges, and the family court judges, and the juvenile court judges. They all thought they were my boss.
I won't say this. Well, Brad won't say this, but I will. Dallas PD, worst job in the county.
I had a great time being Dallas PD.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thanks for coming, Brad. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
John. Good to see you.
Okay.